Hello and welcome back to another episode of Darkroom TV. I am your host, Eugene Wise. In this episode, you may have guessed, it is a holiday episode. So we'll jump right in because we got a lot to cover. For Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we still have some deals going on until December 7th. So you have a very limited window. But Booth is $30 off. Core is $50 off, Pro $100 off, and Hotfolder is $20 off with these coupon codes, and I'll also have them in the description. If you buy all of them together, it's $200 savings. Now, if you are a Darkroom Booth for iPad user and you've been thinking about printing, this is a good time to grab Darkroom Hotfolder, and you can get multiple copies. If you have multiple iPad booths. So it's a good time to jump in and grab some savings there. $80 for a Darkroom Hotfolder, that's pretty good. Next in my cards I have rapid response. So we will look at our comments from last episode. Photo Booth International, fire, 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 keep it coming. Rob says, thanks Eugene. Michael says, I misspelt response. Thanks, Michael. I will fix that, and I appreciate that. Anything I can do to do a better job, let me know. Ricky says, thanks, Eugene. Looking more forward to more good stuff in the future. And he left a second comment that I really liked. Some thoughts for future episodes. Let us know. How about letting us in your head? Not a place that you want to be, but as for planning for a setup for new customers, questions customers ask, creating an event, tools, cameras, and settings, lightings, tips like that. So this episode is actually full of tips because of that comment. I like that. Appreciate it, Ricky. So the first thing I would like to do, and use this as a community to help each other. And I'll tell you a little story, but if you've ever gone to an event and realized you're missing something, comment below. Let us know what you forgot and maybe how you resolved it, so we can all kind of learn from each other's mistakes and build and put together a checklist of things we need to make sure we have with us. Paper, cables. My example is one time I went to an event and I only had one USB hub and that failed. I hate USB hub. From my experience, they fail all the time. I hate USB hubs, but sometimes they are necessary. So I had an event, USB hub failed. How we resolved it, I was working with a photographer, I was handling printing, is we swapped card reader, so they'd take multiple pictures, and then we'd swap cards. I'd import the cards, then plug the printer back in because I had a dongle plugged into my other port that had to stay in there. So that's how we got past it. It was not fun. So I always take a backup of everything, really. 2 printers, 2 cables, 2 printer cables, 2 camera cables, 2 USB hubs, 2 cameras, an extra one of everything. So that's from my personal experience. Please share what you've experienced, and let's build that checklist for everybody, because those type of things aren't fun. So the next on my list, and this one's a good one. Last episode I said that we might be giving away a mystery prize right up there. Well, it's no longer a mystery. We will be giving away a DNP QW410. This is the smallest, lightest weight professional printer in its class. It's new from DNP, and I have to say a huge thank you to Imaging Spectrum. They'll be supplying the printer. I've gotten that's actually how I got mixed up with Darkroom. I've always had a really good relationship with Imaging Spectrum from my lab printing days, and I have multiple printers there from Imaging Spectrum, a great company. If you are not familiar with them, you need to be. So they will be giving us a this new QW410 is a 13-pound, 8-inch tall printer. I've lifted some heavy printers in my day, and my back is not the same from it. Luckily, they're not as heavy as they were back in like 15 years ago, but we're getting better, and this is a good move that DNP has made. So good luck to you. How you can win this printer, let's talk about that. In our Halloween episode, we did a trial run with Event Gallery, where you sent an image in. It's going to work the exact same way. You're going to send your image to this phone number using the keyword How I Darkroom. It's going to upload to Event Gallery, and we'll share it with other people. And what you're doing is showing off what you've done during the pandemic to stay profitable, to stay afloat. The cooler your picture is, how you're using Darkroom today, the more people are going to view it. Whoever has the most views wins the printer. It's that simple. I will choose it January 1st, stroke of midnight, right after I give my wife a big kiss. I'll come up, find out who has the most views at that point, and then I'll call them next business day, letting them know that they've won this brand new printer. So that's how we'll do it. Keyword How I Darkroom. Upload it from your phone to this number of what you're doing with Darkroom to stay profitable. So once again, a huge thank you to DNP and to Imaging Spectrum. Definitely check them out. And if you've used this printer, I never have. I have not personally used this new printer. If you have, comment below. Tell us what you think of it. It looks like a really cool printer, and I wish I could win, but it is a cool printer. So let us know what you think, so we can all learn from your investment. So let's move on to our quick tips. In Core, this is something a lot of people don't know, but you can select an image and drag it straight into your cart. You can also select multiple images and drag them straight into your cart. And let's say you have a package, or you want to print something that is not already set up. When you do that, it'll give you a list of different print sizes that you can print, all the different print sizes. So I use a DX100 for a lot of my printing, and that allows me to print, a 3.5 by 8 versus all the way to 8 by 30 something. And so the other day my wife said, hey, I need you to print some bingo cards for Penny's birthday, my daughter. And she made the images, and I just dragged them in. It was a size I didn't have set up, but I dragged it in and then selected that size because we have a whole bunch of sizes already in Darkroom. But a quick way to avoid having to set up a package for a onesie twosie type of thing, just drag it straight in, and there should be some sort of graphic showing how to do that. The next thing is keyboard shortcuts. If you go to darkroomsupport.com and type in keyboard shortcuts, there's a whole list, a huge list of keyboard shortcuts for Darkroom Core. And this is really helpful, not only in helping speed up your workflow, but for some of the newer users, you can look at that list and find out different features that you didn't even know Darkroom Core had based on the keyword or the keyboard shortcut. So a good way to learn kind of some hidden gems. So keyboard shortcuts. For booth users, in the top right corner of Darkroom Booth, there is an option that says Get Help at boothmanual.com. So if you click on that little button, it'll open up the Help Center or Booth Manual or our knowledge base. They're all the same thing. And you can just type in a keyword search. And that keyword search is super helpful for us. It tells us what you're looking for, and if you don't get a successful return, it lets us know that there is a failed search, and that we either need to add a new article or do a little bit better on keywording, so it makes it easier to find how to do whatever you're looking for. So those keyword searches, even when they don't work for you, it helps us do a better job. So I really appreciate when you guys do that. And a lot of times it's misspelling. I add that misspelled version to the knowledge base, so when you misspell it, you still get the right answer. So, the next on my little list of cards, we have some free templates. If you use the coupon code Virtual Santa, we have some templates downloadable from darkroomtemplates.com. They are green screen Santa background, and they're specifically for core, but there's a little trick. When you download it, it downloads the JPEGs, so you can take those JPEGs and you can use them in Booth, just add them as a graphic. So even though they say they're for core, you can still use them in Booth. They're 5x7, 8x10, 4x6, so Booth users will probably just use the 4x6. But and you can also, a lot of people don't know this, and it's not really that important, but you can add CRDs, the template files from core, to Booth, but it's probably easier just to add a graphic if you're not too familiar with those. So hashtag keep Santa safe. These guys are a little bit older, a little heavier, which is the target that what coronavirus is going after. So we want to do everything we can to keep our Santa safe so they're around for many more years. So a lot of our customers are using plexiglass shields to do Santa shoots. I've been a few different places checking out some setups. Let's all do our part to keep these guys around, and that's one thing that you can help by using that virtual Santa. The next on my list is the Santa Buddies Booth theme. What we have there is a template that's been made for renewed for newer versions of Booth. It is free when you renew your maintenance plan. So if you're not renewed, renew it. You'll get a coupon code, and I'll have a link for it. You just use that coupon code to get your Santa Buddies theme. It comes with a Santa voice, a screen, print alternates already pre-set up as a theme, so that's real cool. And for those that are already up to date with their maintenance plan, we appreciate that. If you email support at darkroomsoftware.com and give us your activation code so we can just double check, and just let us know that you want a coupon code for that, you're already renewed or you're already up to date, we will get you a code. So even if you're up to date, we got you covered. Last on my list is a camera tip. I really don't get into them very often, but that's actually my background is photography. So when you're using external flash, the place to start is with 1/125th of a second f8 and ISO 100. A lot of times people will tell you these are your settings and don't actually explain why. So the 1/25th of a second is typically your sync speed. Some cameras have a little bit different, but that's a safe one to go with. And what that means is your camera has a shutter and it opens and then it closes. So after a certain speed, after your sync speed, it will start closing before it finishes opening. So you'll end up with a black bar. That's why you want to stick with that 1/125th of a second. The f8 is a good all-around kind of basic down the road focus or f-stop to do okay in focus. And the ISO 100 is actually what you kind of want to adjust. Typically when you start there, it might be a little bit dark, and you just raise your ISO to 200, and that will increase the light by double. And then you can go to 400. You have some stops in between, third stops usually, and you can tweak it until it's just right. So 1/125th of a second, f8, and then increase your ISO from 100 until you get a proper exposure. That's if you're using an external flash. If you're not, then program actually works really well. It does all the things for you if you're not too familiar. But it's a good idea to kind of learn your camera. So that is my all my cards. That brings us to the end of the episode. I want to say thank you. If I don't see you before Christmas or New Year's, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for sticking with me Thank you for being amazing customers. We do appreciate you so much. And I will see you next time. Take care of each other.